Simplified Chaos, episode 135.
Life is beautiful and full of chaos.
And it can get slightly out of hand if that shit's not tamed.
We're here to share how to simplify the little things to help you lead a more intentional life.
This is Simplified Chaos.
What's going on? Welcome to Simplified Chaos. This is Jillian, one of your hosts. And I'm with Nicholas, who's giving me evil eyes. Did I take your line?
You always are starting to do this.
I'm just trying to do something different, and then I forget what your go-to line.
My shtick is, what's going on, folks?
I didn't say folks.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Y'all are having a wonderful week.
Do you want me to start it over?
No.
You sure?
We're going to roll with this.
Okay, cool.
We are sorry we missed you last week. We were out of town and did not have the proper space to do an episode. But we are back. Happy to be with you all. And we've got another great episode here for you today. Jilly, what are we going to dive into?
Finding your people.
We found some people.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yes, it is all about finding our people. So before we dive into that, as always, we'd love to show some gratitude. So Jilly, what are you grateful for this week?
Lucille.
Oh, I mean, we're grateful for her every second of the day, but I'm sure there was something special.
Or it's just a heavy why phase.
Oh gosh,
it's
yes.
Everything. Why? I should tally mark, keep track of.
I mean, we go 12 levels deep on the why too. It's just I thought I explained that pretty thoroughly.
It's so cool just to hear her question everything, and I just wonder what's going on in her mind. Is she just programmed to just ask why, or is she actually understanding each and every answer that I try to give her to reason and make sense? And it's so fascinating. Like today when I was doing some writing in your office space, and she's like, Mama, what are you doing in there? And I was like, well, I'm writing. Well, why? And I was like, because I like helping people. Why do you like helping people? I was like, well, it makes me feel good. Why does it make you feel good? I'm like, oh my God, I love you so much.
Yeah.
But it's just why with everything. And I guess it's a reminder to keep that there's no such thing as a wrong question or a bad question, just to keep questioning and keep being curious. So Lucille's just always teaching me, and I'm evolving with her, and she's just so fucking rad.
Yeah, it really makes you think about how deep the why really goes. It's a simple question, but then there's more and more layers to it. And
so true.
That's what we're really finding out. It's we think that we give a good detailed expression, but I mean, it just goes more and more. And I said expression, I meant explanation. But yeah, I mean, it's just, she's making us think more and more. And sometimes it's just I want to give her a quick answer, but I'm just I really have to think about that, sweetie, which is great because it's a good reminder for us as to why we do the things that we do.
So true. We should always be questioning our actions or intentions or, things that we choose to do or not to do. And it's, So thanks, Lucille, for keeping us on our toes.
Always.
What about you?
I am grateful for our people.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really hard not to be grateful for our people. So we had some visitors this past weekend. We love visitors. And, our friends who came down, who listen to the podcast every now and then, Beverly and Kevin, we were just so grateful that they were able to come down with their son and spend some time with us, get to see our new home and where we are setting our roots. Mm-hmm. And just, like always, with great friends, the conversation just kind of picks up, even though we haven't seen each other for a couple months. It was just amazing to have them down here and to just catch up, show them the area, but really just, reconfirm that, we are totally aligned in a lot of things in life. And just good to have people who are, behind you always 100% and support you no matter your decisions, and not only support you, but, genuinely understand why you make those decisions and, are your biggest cheerleaders. So it was just great to have them down here. I wish they could spend more time, but obviously there's we all have our lives that we have to go to. And Hopefully next time they come down, it'll be a little bit longer. And then obviously when we're back up there in Maryland, we'll make sure to pop in and say hello. But yeah, that's what I'm grateful for, is just the visit from really great friends and just having an amazing time.
Yeah, and they've kind of inspired this episode just because of some of the discussions we've had. It just has flowed so well, and it just makes me think of like certain attributes or the reasons why we hang out with people and the reasons why we may or may not hang out with certain people. So it's always nice, I think, to reflect on, like Lucille asks, why we choose to hang out with the people we do, and just confirms that to keep going that direction and not to falter because we feel guilty, or just because we may have been close in the past means that we have to stay connected and make efforts. And I feel more comfortable in my own skin now. I'm more self-aware and self-conscious and more confident in who I've become, which makes it a lot easier to decide the people that I want to be around and the people who I'm like, I love you to death, but it's not going to be like it used to be. And that's okay. And I think I told you, Nick, one of my friends, Jess, her therapist, she's going through a tough time, and her therapist told her, like, her relationship isn't dissolving, it's evolving. And that really stuck with me and kind of helping me process, like, letting go the proximity of certain relationships and being okay with it and not feeling like I'm a bad friend or I should be doing that. So if anything, this episode is to kind of ease and simplify your mind and just honing in that direction, or that group of people, that just to kind of like reaffirm, like, be around them more, and then kind of being okay with not being around certain people and not feeling like you're a bad person. And I think I've come a long way to kind of be fairly grounded in like the decision we make on, the people we hang around.
And I think that this has been a great time for us to reflect on relationships. And I feel like most people, whether they know it or not, have really reflected on the relationships they had over the past 18 months, because we're in a crazy time. And let's set aside like people's beliefs or anything like that. Let's not even forget that, what people believe in the pandemic, what they don't. But more so, it's just like, we're at a point where it's like, who have you made time for your life these days? Because there was a long period of time where we couldn't see anybody, or at least we were told that you can't see anybody because of the pandemic and spreading the virus. So we had that time frame where we really didn't see many of our friends, and really that kind of sparked the whole move down here. It's just like, will we miss our friends? Yes, but we haven't seen a lot of our friends for the last 8, 9, 12 months and whatnot. So it was kind of a time for us to kind of reflect on that. And now, I think it's easier to maybe let go of some of those relationships where there isn't, I wouldn't even say alignment, but just, maybe it is that.
I think alignment's a good word for it. Yeah,
alignment's probably a good word. Not that they're bad people or anything like that. It's just that we're at a certain point in our lives where we want to live a certain way, do certain things, and they might be at a different point in their lives where it's a different direction. And that's part of growing up. That's part of getting older and wiser. But yeah, I think that really, like, this is a great time for everybody to kind of look at those relationships and see who you really made time for in the last 18 months, and in particular when things started opening up again. Are you still seeing the same people that you saw before? Is there a certain group of people that you're seeing before? And I know you probably want to chime in, but I've got a really good analogy for this, and I was just thinking about this. We have, people always put stuff in storage or whatever. They put them away and they don't see it for such a long time, and then they almost forget it's there. And I'm not saying that we're forgetting any friends or anything like that, but it's just like, there's certain things that you use in your everyday life that, help you function, help become, help you get through the day or whatnot. It's kind of like the same thing with friends. It's like, those people who are your people are there for you, and They might not be there every day, but ultimately they're going to text you every now and then, check in and see how you're doing. You're going to make time to hang out with them. And then they're there. And then, the other people who you might not be in alignment with, or just not, life's not on the same path. You're not in the same season anymore. Those kind of are just still in the storage bin. You might get it out one day, but you're not going to go out of your way to, pull that out. No, and I hope that doesn't sound too harsh, but
no. And I think it's good to speak your truth. I think that's a great analogy of just like, what's useful to you and what's not. I think there's no bad or good about saying that. I think it's just being true to, to what you need and your desires and wants, and, what makes you into the person you want to be, and then what doesn't. And it's kind of like with stuff, let it go.
Stuff.
Let it go if it's not serving you. And it's kind of the same way with people. Obviously people are way, way, way more important than stuff, at least in my opinion. But I think that's a great analogy, and just kind of simplifying like kind of the mind chaos that can go, and emotions attached, or the past behind certain friendships. It's just like, attachment is great, but I think it's important that we have a loose grip on those as well. Like, we're there, but also like to not feel tethered to something because of emotions of fear or guilt or anything else that may come to mind. But I have a little poem to start with. That's okay.
Oh, we're just getting started now?
We are.
Go for it.
I guess
the last 6 minutes didn't really happen.
It felt like it didn't take that long. So I don't know. I feel like it's still the beginning. Is that okay?
Yeah, but it's we're just now entering into the second third of the podcast, if you will.
Well, I wasn't going to put anything in this, but I was looking at my notes and I was, jotting down, finding resources and stuff like that. And I found this poem that I wrote. And I think it was after I hung out with one of my friends.
Oh, it's a Jill original.
It is. And it's called I've Struck Gold, y'all.
Oh.
The people who grow alongside you, who root for you always, who ask questions with an open mind and no agenda, who can sit with you both in chaos and in dead silence and be all there, who keep it real and believe transparency is a connector and not a competition, who you can trust to figure out the hard shit together, who make you laugh so hard that pissing your pants may be the norm, who feels like home, just feels right. Your people is not about quantity, but quality. Mine may be small, but it's fucking gold, y'all.
You wrote that when you met me.
False.
No, that's that. Yeah. I think that spoke everything. That's the episode, Jilly.
I mean,
my goodness.
And I kind of reflected on just our conversation with our friends when they came down here. We talked about the pandemic and kind of how the pandemic awakened some relationships or sustained relationships, or we laid them to rest in a kind way. So I was thinking about the attributes of, and I didn't want to talk about anything negative. Like, I don't like people who do blank. This is all about, these are the kind of people that we find ourselves drawn to, connecting to, making time for. And I just wanted to kind of like say some of those. And if you wanted to like piggyback or like add something else, or any of your beautiful knowledge in that brain of yours.
Yeah, I'll just drop in a couple of things and we'll see what happens.
All right. So the first one that was most important to me is a growth mindset.
That is hugely important. Like, we're looking to surround ourselves with people who are always looking to grow and not necessarily change, but just have an open mindset and be willing to grow. I think that's the beginning part of that, is you have to have that willingness. But then once you have that willingness, it's just like, okay, we want to grow together. We want to better ourselves together. We're going to share things that make each other better.
For sure.
Yeah. And that's hugely important.
Like I think about people who are very humble and they don't think they're an expert. They always have like this beginner mindset as well. Like I may know a lot of information, but I can always do better and learn. And those are the type of people I feel like we really gravitate towards, someone who's just not stern in their ways. It's like, this is my perspective, but I also can see that perspective. So I thought that was so important, at least in my opinion.
Definitely.
Kind, just, empathetic souls. Just kind people.
Absolutely.
Do good, say good, show good. You know, it's not just with words, it's actions and all of it.
There is a saying that it doesn't take any effort to be kind. I don't know if that's necessarily true, because I think for it does take some effort, but I mean, it really shouldn't. Like, just to say a nice thing about somebody, like, shouldn't, and you shouldn't have to look too deep either. Like, it can be just something, very simple that can, brighten somebody's day. Like, I like your hat.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it was simple back in the day, but I think with all the mind clutter and chaos that's out there now, I think it's almost brainwashing people to think in a totally different way, of like to always think about the negative or to complain about things or to feed on the drama. I mean, if you think about like social media and all the things that get people to click or watch, it's like, it's never about kindness, like very rare. It's a kind bait. You know what I mean? Like, this person saved this person's life, or it's, it's usually something, I don't know, just not good.
It is interesting. Like, I was in a marketing class, and they had mentioned that a lot of times people like, and one of the more open emails is like when there's a screw up and you're like, oops, we accidentally sent something out, or if you start with oops, and it was just kind of talking about subject line writing, but it's like, just talks about that. It's like people like seeing more of when people mess up rather than cheering them on, which is
interesting.
Very backwards. Like, and you kind of see that on social media with like, if some kids getting beat up, people are video recording it rather than, intervening and stuff like that. So like, I know this has nothing to do with kindness, but like, it's just one of those things where, I think, to your point, society's just going on a different way, where it is a little bit more challenging to be kind.
Yeah, I think it takes a lot of work, at least for me, which is sad to say, but I'm just being transparent here. I have to do a lot of work to clear out the mind clutter.
Oh, yeah.
To go back to those roots of just being human, loving each other, knowing we have so many similarities, yet we have differences, but just focusing on that we're all human and we all make mistakes and we're all trying our best and everyone has a story and so forth. But it takes a lot of effort for me to revert to that, which is really crazy to say out loud. But I feel like when your environment is a certain way too, like you get caught up subconsciously into turning into what your environment is. And if you're if you're filled around, talking about people or drama or feeding on the negative news, it's like that just becomes who you are.
Sure.
Just because it's always around you, and it's hard not to do that. So
yeah,
it's a lot of work.
It's a ton of work.
It's getting easier, I will say.
Yes.
Practice makes progress, but okay, sense of humor for sure.
100%.
I feel like if you can't laugh at yourself, it's just not going to work out.
I mean, if you don't laugh at me, then there's definitely an issue.
I can
certainly laugh at myself. And you laugh at yourself often. Like, sometimes you can't even get out a joke without laughing at yourself.
I know. I laugh at myself. People make fun of me. Like, I can get hurt too. But I feel like if you can't laugh at yourself and the mistakes and just being who you are, it's like, it's not going to work out so well, because I laugh a lot and poke jokes, but it's usually not cruel. It's just, usually you either get it or you don't, and that's cool. It's cool.
Totally cool.
I just wrote flexible, people who are just willing to be flexible in all areas of life,
Oh, absolutely.
What's that word you like to use?
Nimble.
Nimbleness.
Yes.
That's it.
That is
that word.
One of my company's values, is to be nimble. And you gotta be. We're trying to be flexible, and we like to hang around people who are flexible.
I mean, if I've learned anything from just being alive and living for 35 years, it's just that things never go to plan. So if you're not flexible, you're not really, I don't know. I feel like the good life is just going with the flow versus forcing it and being ready for whatever has to come your way.
It's all about the hip flexors.
It's all about the hip flexors. Oh, man. Okay, this came out when I was like, sometimes I don't think about this often, but this is definitely a huge part. Puts in equal effort to stay connected. There are some people that I know I feel like I've connected with very well with, and I feel like the alignment is there. But when it comes to making an effort to stay connected, to reach out, I feel like I'm heavy loaded on that side. I try to be like, it's okay to let that go. Like, they're not ready for me yet. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I try to tell myself a message, like, it's not me. It's just that they're not looking for what I have to offer at this moment in their life. So I think it's so important that whoever our people are, like, they're putting in just as much effort to make it a point to connect and just reach out, even if they live far away, as much as we do.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and when you move out of an area that you've grown up in, you kind of feel like the onus is on you, but it still can be a two-way street.
Oh, I think it's always.
Yeah.
I think in any relationship, whether it's friendship or marriage or a partnership, it's like you need to have equal shares of putting in and putting out. I don't think it should be, unless you guys have some crazy plan that makes it work when you're like, yeah, I'm going to put in 20% and you put in 80. I mean, I don't know anything like that, but if you do, let me know what that's like.
Yeah.
Authentic.
Highly important.
I know in the past, and I don't know if you can like reflect on this, when, of course, I feel like high school and middle school are like the best displays of me just trying to figure out like who the hell I am. Like, you see people that are popular and you want to do what they do and wear what they're wearing and listen to the music they're listening to. And you're just becoming a clone of people you think you want to be friends with, instead of like really honing on and being confident and like owning your weirdness. And I think that's why I'm such a big proponent on like, get your weird on. Because I'm like, if I can hone that in with Lucille at a young age, just to appreciate her quirks, her quirkiness, her weirdness, I feel like in the long run, hopefully, that's this crossing fingers, it's going to help just make her more self-confident and aware of who she is and to stay strong, to be that person.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely learn at a young age to, well, I guess you find yourself trying to impress people at a younger age is where I'm going with. And so that, like, yeah, I'd say a majority of your adolescent life, you're your most inauthentic self, but it's not your fault either. Like you're trying to find who you are as a human being. But then you may find yourselves doing things or saying things that is just not who you are.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to get out of that once you've done that for so many years. And I think adults have a very tough time being their authentic self based on their experiences, in adolescence and growing up, and always trying to impress other people. That's a big reason why people just have a hard time being authentic and, are scared of what other people think about, of their weirdness. And I kind of reflect back to our first date all the time, where it's like I knew that you were the right person for me, because I felt like for the first time on a first date probably ever that I was able to just kind of be my authentic self with you and be the goofball that I am. And you, I feel like, did the same thing. You didn't hold back. You were your authentic self. And I think that's why it worked out so well.
I've been faking this whole time.
Jesus. No.
I think part of the reason is, and I'm no expert in this by any means, but I think it's just my own self-discovery, is that if you're always going and you don't spend time with yourself, you don't self-reflect on what your own needs are. You're so busy on somebody else's agenda, or just doing instead of having time to be and just like think about, what do I want? Like, where do I, who are the people I want to be around? Not who are the people that I find myself around because of my job or situation. So I feel like it has to do a lot with the speed and pace of your lifestyle as well. Or if you're not taking time to be with yourself, how are you going to learn about yourself? How are you going to know who you are again? And it's like something I feel like I need to check in with all the time, because making sure that I'm not following, I don't know, a path just because I want to be like them or be friends with them, or I don't know. I feel like it takes a lot of inner work, and we're not really taught that. It's something that you think like it just comes natural, but it's actually, and to me in this society, it's just so fast paced and there's so many societal norms and expectations. It's just like, you really got to do the work and just be with yourself to be like, who am I exactly? I don't know.
And who you are is always evolving. So that's why it's important to check in often,
right?
Because you may need to change things just because you're feeling a different way at a certain point in your life.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
All right. The people, our kind of people, are uplifting us no matter what.
Yeah.
They're not focusing on the negative. They're not complaining. They're just there to uplift you.
Yeah.
Just to
They're your
reinforce.
cheerleader.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
And I put gratitude. I feel like usually the people we are just, they're just grateful.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
They don't take anything for granted. They're grateful for the situations we all have. And I've got a couple bonuses.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Because it doesn't necessarily have to have it, but if they have it, there are people.
Okay.
They love good food, cocktails,
Yeah.
and nature.
I like it. Food and nature.
Don't have to have
For
them.
sure. Yeah.
But those are great bonuses.
Those interests totally align. I think, they don't have to have similar interests, but
not necessarily cocktails,
having
alcohol.
some interests that are similar would be phenomenal.
Yes. But those are the bonus features. Those aren't a requirement to be our people.
Well, I only have 2 more. Did you have any more bonuses besides that?
No,
just that.
Those were off the cuff.
I like it. I like it. Our people usually just inspire me to be better or do better.
Yes.
In some small way. Just being around them, I just want to improve myself. And the last but not least, I just wrote that they have similar values. You know, they love family, you know, community is important, you know,
friendship,
and
staying in touch, you know, I guess it's all part of it. But yeah, I mean, that's highly important, you know, and you know, we've talked in the past about, you know, surrounding yourself with people who, you know, make you feel good and be your best self. And, you know, that's really, you know, what we want to do. And obviously values play a big part in that. So, you know, find people who value the same things that you do. A lot less arguing when that happens, that's for sure.
Yeah, the conversation is just intriguing to me. I love when people we hang around with have different opinions or beliefs, but our values are similar. And you know our values are similar because we can have this open dialogue and understand each other without arguing. It's just, it's really cool to have those types of conversations. It makes me even more curious and want to ask questions. And I think I grow more when I'm around people who have different beliefs and who are willing to grow alongside with me instead of just like shutting me down. Like, you don't believe this. I can't be your friend anymore. I'm like, then we're not meant to be. You're not my kind of people. Now that, you know, I think talking about this, it makes it a little bit easier to streamline. Like, okay, you're my kind of people, or you're like, I thought you were, but it's okay. Yeah. It's all right.
No offense, no hard feelings.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I had.
Awesome. Well, do you have any resources? Your poem?
No, it wasn't my poem. I did find a good blog post. It was by Tiny Buddha.
Tiny Buddha. Not miniature Buddha, but Tiny Buddha.
Exactly.
All right.
And it was 5 ways to find the people, the ones who really get you. So I'll read all 5 and then I'll do a small blurb and then we can move on. But I liked him a lot. All right. Here are some steps to finding those people who will love, support, challenge, and accept you. Number 1, do what you like to do. For years, I thought nothing was worth doing if I wasn't passionate with a capital P about it. But just enjoyment is enough, and spend the amount of time doing that thing that feels right to you. Number 2, learn how to talk to strangers.
That's a tough one.
Oh my gosh, but I can totally resonate with this one as we are freshly moved into a new place. Yes. And I've met so many people by just growing a pair and just talking. Every stranger is a potential friend, as they say. I've always been really shy, but when I focused on doing the things I enjoy, I started to get less shy, at least about those things. It's okay. And I'll just stop there. So yeah, I think that's big. If you're around a group of people who are doing something that they enjoyed, that you like to do, it makes it a little bit easier to break the walls of just like, hey, I would love to learn more about this, or where are you from? You know what I mean?
That's one of those interesting things, though. It's like learned very early, like don't talk to strangers. But now it's like, no, you probably should talk to strangers. Just don't talk to strangers that are next to a van with no windows.
It should be, yeah.
joke, everybody. Man, she almost just completely blew past that one.
I did. I'm so sorry. That's terrible, Nick. Yeah, but you bring up a great point. That's why it makes it so tricky to talk to kids, because strangers it's not black and white.
It's not.
It shouldn't just be don't talk to strangers. It should be, well, let's talk about what are some things to look for, how to communicate, to be aware of your surroundings. Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, we could dive in more, but it's so totally true. Okay. Number 3, find other people who do what you like to do. Find them and introduce yourself. There is no rule that says, quote unquote, your people have to live in the same town as you.
That's true. Pen pals.
I mean, I met some amazing people on Instagram that live far away from us, and it's been awesome to like make the time to go and connect with them in real person. And I feel like, it's just, I don't know. When you have that kind of friendship, it just feel like it speaks volumes. It's all about that like quality, not quantity.
That's right.
Okay. Number 4, participate, even if it's scary. Just because some people like what you like doesn't mean they're your people. You may have to keep exploring your interests for a while and keep exploring groups who share those interests. But when you find people who seem like they can handle you, step in and help out.
Go all in.
And number 5, I like this one. Be honest and present. Once you've met people that you feel you want to connect to, practice being brave enough to be open about that with them. Take up space with the people you think might be, quote unquote, your people. Practice being open, saying what you feel, and being present with them. See how they react. The ones who stay with you in those moments of vulnerability, not judging you or criticizing you, are truly your people.
I like that.
Weed them out in the beginning. You know what I mean? Just be you.
Yeah.
Be like,
they
either like it or they don't. It's like, cool.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it easier for the other people on the other side to say, I like this person or I don't. Mm-hmm. And if they're not going to give you the time of day and accept you for who you are and be your cheerleader and all the things that we just talked about, then it's not worth your time.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good resource, Jilly.
Well, thank you so much, sir.
I dig it.
Yeah.
Awesome. How about the quote of the day then?
Quote of the day was actually in the blog post, so I'm just going to use theirs. It's
Repeatin', por favor.
I didn't read it yet, though, but it's unknown. It's unknown, and I really liked it. Above all, be true to yourself, and if you cannot put your heart in it, take yourself out of it.
I like it.
Yeah, me too.
I thought it was something that you had already read.
No, it was not.
No. So the resource will have the quote of the day in it too.
It will indeed.
It's a 2-for-1 special.
Yes, it's a bonus special.
That's right. And the Take Action Challenge, Jilly. Find your people.
Find your peeps.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're just going to keep it simple.
That's right.
And hopefully...
We're going to keep it simple on Simplified Chaos.
We try to. We try to. I'm not going to sing that. I'm done.
No, you just did. You tried to.
I did.
All right. Well, we're going to end on that. And that's going to do it for today's episode, folks. If you like this episode, please do us a favor and help us spread the message. You can do this by writing a review on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, or you can simply share this episode with a friend. And remember, sharing sparks a conversation, conversation leads to action, and action is how we're able to live a happy and intentional lifestyle. We want to thank you all for listening today, and we will see you again next week.
See y'all later.